Hey everybody, welcome to a short segment of On the Clock. I'm here by myself. Basically, this is a new idea that we're pitching. We're going to try, posting smaller content. For example, here I have Christian McCaffrey trade grades, winners and losers. We're just going to try to expand our content, see what else we can bring to you guys, see if you guys enjoy it. Let us know in the comments below. Please leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, let's just kick right to it. Okay, so for the trade grades, I have the Panthers getting an A. Why do I have them getting an A? Because of the reception that they got, what they received. They got a second round pick, a third round pick, and a fourth round pick in this year's draft coming up in April. Then they got a 2024 fifth. That fifth round pick, it could be all right. But we're here to talk about the second and the third and the fourth. You can either package those three and get a first, or you can use the second round pick because the running back class this year is stacked there, and second round picks is normally where you get good running backs, simply because drafting running backs at number one, not only do you have to pay them a lot, it's a very risky position. They're really, drafting Saquon looked like a mistake after his rookie year. There's a bunch of other running backs that you can talk about that you drafted number one or number two, high in the first round, and they're bad. I can give you only one running back that I would draft in the first round this year, and we'll put it in a mock draft video later on. Is Bijan Robinson coming out of Texas? Amazing running back, best running back I've seen personally. That's the only one I draft in the first round. Every other running back, which is again solid, they're more second round picks simply because that position there's so many and it's so expendable. The Niners, I gave them a C-. Why? Because the Christian McCaffrey trade was good. Don't get me wrong, but the money that got involved and the fact that they gave up the farm. A late first round pick would have been sufficeable, maybe offer a little bit less. But now, not only are they short on picks, the money that they have to pay McCaffrey for the injury prone that he is, because that place I think is cursed. I think that place is cursed simply because everybody gets injured. Everybody. Nick Bosa's getting injured constantly. Debo's the only one that's durable. Maybe Ayuk, you can argue. George Kittle's always getting injured. The offensive line's always getting injured. Defense is always getting injured. They have torn ACLs left and right. If it's not because it's turf, which I don't think is turf, you got an issue that they can't stay healthy. So, it's a matter of health. If he stays healthy, if the whole team stays healthy, that's a Super Bowl contender right there. They're going back to the Super Bowl this year if they all stay healthy, all of them, and if they add a corner. But if they don't, then I don't know. It doesn't look so. I do think they win their division. Then again, that's not that much. Now here we're going to the winners of this trade. First, we have the Carolina Panthers. Why? They cleared some cap space with that trade. Christian McCaffrey's owed a certain amount this year. He's owed $12 million next year and $12.5 the following. They don't have to pay that. They have some dead cap involved, but they don't have to pay that. The rest, the majority of that goes to the Niners. And the contract's not, the guarantees is where you can kind of get away from that, because once the contract's not guaranteed, you just get out of it. That's, I guess, the good thing for the Niners, but we'll get there later. They gained a haul of picks to kickstart the rebuild. Yes, they have a first, and if I'm not mistaken, they have a pick each round in this year, which is 7 rounds total, which is bonkers. You can package those picks and shoot up. You can draft well in those rounds, because this draft class is all right. It's a good draft class. I like it. Obviously, I'm gonna come up with a mock draft at some point this year, probably mid-season, next week would be, or the following. But you'll get a mock draft here soon. We'll talk about that then. Outside of that, the picks, kickstarting the rebuild. The thing about the rebuild, you need to hit the picks. If you don't hit the picks, it's not gonna happen. And it sets the market for the rest of the team. Why? What does that mean? That means, for example, DJ Moore, I would value the same as I would value Christian McCaffrey. I had Christian McCaffrey valued at first, so like 27 to 32 in that pick range. A late first was where I valued him. The Niners at some point could have given that, but I guess the first round pick I didn't really like either from the Niners. I agree with this trade a lot though, simply because now instead of offering a first round pick, you can offer around it. You can offer similar value, second, third, fourth, fifth, stuff like that to DJ Moore. Get that compilation of picks from these two trades and trade for a couple firsts. Brian Burns, same thing, multiple firsts, maybe even a third, 2 firsts and a second, stuff like that. Shaq Thompson, maybe even a second round pick, third round pick. The value increases for the rest of the team because now you know what they want. Jimmy Garoppolo, is another winner that I have here. The trade helps his production. The offensive line is strong when healthy. Now you got a dynamic offense, which you've already had. You add another dynamic piece, 2,000 scrimmage yard potential player. Now you got a pass catcher out of the backfield and also can give you 100 rush yards a game. You got Deebo Samuel who can give you 100 rush yards a game and 100 receiving yards a game. You got Brandon Ayuk who can ball. He's not a scrub. He can ball. If you target him, he can ball. And you got George Kittle who, if healthy, can ball and block, which is what you need in this kind of situation. And again, if that team gets healthy, they're going to the Super Bowl. The team to beat in the NFC, I thought, was the Packers. Now is the Eagles, and the Eagles you can expose with a defense from DeMeco Ryans, who's a defensive guru. If anyone needs a coach, go to San Francisco. You got one right there, and the San Francisco 49ers can get a pick out of that too. The team runs the ball more and better than they already have with Christian McCaffrey. That is true. Again, 1,000-yard potential rusher, a solidified rusher because Jeff Wilson, Tyrion Davis-Price, Elijah Mitchell, those people just came out in the playoffs. Raheem Mostert also, they just came out in the playoffs, broke out in the playoffs. And what did they do in the regular season? Get injured, unfortunately, but they got injured. So now if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, that's a solid runner, a very solid, elite runner that can give you multiple 100-yard games, and that can give you multiple touchdowns, that can give you multiple avenues to win a game. Now Kyle Shanahan has somebody to play with, and adds another dynamic weapon to an already potent offense. Christian McCaffrey is also a winner in this simply because he has a chance to win a Super Bowl since Cam Newton was in town. Not this last time, 2016, 2015. He got put in the perfect situation. He's got top 10 offense. He's got top 10 defense. He's got top 5 defense. He's got offensive weapons around him that he doesn't have to carry the load. Only thing he needs is injuries. That's the only thing that I think he needs to fix. Injuries. You got the Niners, which I talked about all of them. If he stays healthy, that offense is the top 10 for sure. It's top 10 now. Maybe you can argue top 7 if you put McCaffrey healthy in the spot with everybody included. Even now, without Trent Williams and McGlinchey, everybody. You already have a top 5 defense. Again, without some of their players, they still play like a top 5 defense, which is amazing. That's the power of DeMeco Ryans. Somebody should hire him right now. And the race for the NFC West is slightly higher than 50%. So, according to BetMGM, the chance that they have to win that division is 50%. And if you go over really quick, the Cardinals, they won yesterday. If it wasn't for those pick sixes, they would have lost. That's 14 points that they had to the board. You have the Rams, who have been struggling with the pieces that they've had. And the O-line is in shambles. And then you have the Seahawks. Well, the Seahawks, they're not going to win. They're not going to win the division. If they do, I don't know what to say. It's just crazy that they do. Now here we're going to the losers. The Rams are the first losers that come to mind. Why? Because they're shipping out Cam Akers. Cam Akers, I really like his upside. I like his potential. My only issue is the durability. And even then, he had a torn ACL, came back, went off. Absolutely off. Won the Super Bowl, came back, got a little bit injured, but now they don't want to use him. Why is that? The world may never know, I guess. How the hell do you go from a Super Bowl, a Super Bowl title, who when he played really good in that whole playoff run, to now wanting to trade him, thinking he's expendable because you drafted somebody, a year or so younger than him. I don't think that's a good idea, but he's disgruntled. Get some picks off of him while you can. Use that asset. I guess Kyren Williams. I think Kyren Williams can be a running back one in that team. I really want to see that. I can't wait to see that. Let's just see how that fares. They're struggling big to run the ball. They cannot run the ball to save their lives. They cannot. Darrell Henderson cannot do that. Cam Akers can do that, but they don't want to give him the role. Kyren Williams can do that, but he's injured. So let's see what happens. And Stafford needs more help. That being said, the offensive line market this year in terms of the trade deadline is trash. You have the names that have been circulating. I can give you 2. Riley Reef from the Bears, who barely played, but he's a decent offensive tackle, and Cam Irvin, who's a good number 2, but they could use a number 2 right now. So instead of maybe focusing, now that they can't get Christian McCaffrey, maybe they should focus on the O-line or the many under running backs that are coming in the next video, which the next video would be predictions. The likely candidates and all that stuff. The Carolina QBs, less of a running attack. That running game it's pretty bad. I don't think Chuba Hubbard is a bad guy, like a bad, runner. I think, I had him number 1 on my board in 2022, the number 1 running back in 2020 when he came out of Oklahoma State. When he was supposed to come out, everybody thought he was going to come out. He was going to be the number 1 running back, and then all of a sudden decided to go back to school, which is fine. But I think that lowered his stock a lot, and I don't think the people believe in him anymore. I do. I certainly do. I think Chuba Hubbard is the perfect successor for Christian McCaffrey. More passing, which means more attempts and more sacks. That O-line, they have Ikem Ekwonu, they have Taylor Moton, but the interior can't guard. They can't, block. And the interior, they get through to Baker, and that's normally what the issue is. The tackles can only hold so long. The O-line can only hold so long. It's also the fault of the quarterbacks because they need to get the ball out quicker. You have the weapons to do so. Get the ball out quicker. The O-line can only hold you so long. But if the O-line could improve and hold a split second longer, maybe they get more confidence. But the attempts also, they mess the shoulder and they mess the elbow. The more attempts, the more sore it gets, the more tired it gets. The next thing you know, you're throwing bladed balls. The league's worst offense, they're ranked 32nd by a wide margin, and they just suck. Unfortunately, because they have the pieces to succeed, but I think it's the quarterback play. That's the only way you can argue. The quarterback play and I guess interior O-line. But yeah, let's blame the O-line all the time. No, quarterback play is the issue. I don't think Baker's a starting quarterback anymore. I think he's showing it. I think the O-line in Cleveland was what made him look better than he did now. It's exposing his actual game. And the QB hole is huge. They need a quarterback next year. Luckily, they're going to have the first overall pick, so you can get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Tanner McKee. I think they go C.J. Stroud, but that's just me. Steve Wilks. The reason why he's here, his chances of keeping that job have dropped significantly if they already aren't, underground. Why? It gave him the team that was 1-4 under Matt Rule, whom they should have fired last year in the offseason, but they didn't because you invested almost $70 million for 7 years. You invested a lot of money for 7 years into a coach that came out of college that revived college programs. Then he comes here and now he's getting $40 million sitting on his couch like a boss. Those are bad mistakes up from ownership. But you can manage. I think Steve Wilks also, he drafted Josh Rosen, and what happened? It was a disaster. That's probably why they fired him, because he didn't want Kyler. I guess I wish they could give him another chance simply because the team is they are rebuilding, so maybe you can rebuild the coach. I guess you can have the coach rebuild himself. Outside of that, there's no other reason to keep him. I mean, he did inherit the league's worst offense and the 21st ranked defense, so he doesn't really have much to work with. It's like David Culley last year. You gave him a garbage team, he made it all right, and then you drop him. It makes no sense. The QB disaster, we said it before, it's just terrible. You got Jacob Eason, PJ Walker, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and Matt Corral. Matt Corral, I liked out of Ole Miss, but we have to see what he can do in the starting lineup. We have to see what he can do, period. He got injured, unfortunately, but there's time for him. Maybe. And the more players might be traded. I think at least one more gets traded. I don't think it's DJ Moore. I don't think it's Brian Burns. I will let you know in the next video. And the San Francisco 49ers for the last one. Why? They're built the same as the Rams. They gave away the farm so they could draft up. They drafted Trey Lance, giving the Dolphins their pick, the first round pick, which is pretty high now. They gave picks for a lot of players. They traded some players, but they gave up a lot of picks to get some players. Now they're left with their best picks are the 3 compensatory picks from the signings of the 3, coaches, assistant coaches. And yeah, the Rams, what are they doing now? Their O-line, they invested in other parts of the field, yes, but their O-line is in shambles, which means the quarterback that they invested a lot in, the farm in, is in shambles. and that doesn't help. Luckily, the Niners have the pieces around them, but then again, if they start to diminish, if they start to stop working and people start to leave, that's when it becomes an issue, because then you have no draft picks to acquire other players. You're gonna have to sell your own team to get picks to then restart the whole process. That's why it's always good to have a balance. The way I see it, you have to have a balance. Have some picks there, some good picks. Have some good players. Build within. If you can't build within, trade some of those picks to get some players to add to here while you take a little bit here. You got to spend money to make money. But it's the amount that you spend and the amount that you make that make the big difference. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. We're going to start making more short videos like this for your guys' viewing pleasure. We are going to come up with, mock drafts, trade predictions, weekly power rankings. We have our picks leagues in the episodes. They're still happening. Don't worry about that. The episodes are still happening every week. They're dropping every Mondays. Episode 3 is coming out Monday. It's just in the finishing touches. And please go ahead and like and subscribe and comment if you guys want any topics specifically to be made a video, or if you guys want any topics to be put into the episodes. And go follow us on Twitter and Instagram. They're going to be also in the description below. And thank you for being here. Have a good day. Peace.